It's that time of year again. I'm getting ready to go to the Mid-South gravel event out in Oklahoma. It is my all-time favorite gravel event, and I'm looking forward to flying out there next Thursday with a few buddies from here in the Bay Area. But before that can happen, I need to figure out what tires I'm gonna run next week. Currently on my gravel bike, I've got a set of 50 millimeter Maxxis Ramblers mounted to Zipp 303 Explorer SWs. Things are big, but I like them so far. They're not too bad in terms of riding on the road. Been having some discussion with my buddy Nate, and he's convinced me to mount these 2.1 tires that I bought back during Christmas. So I think these Vittoria Peyote 2.1s might be the jam for the event. Not like I'm gonna take podium or anything. So anyways, I'm in the garage mounting these tires to a set of Hunt 40 CGRs, whatever these are. Felt like it would be overkill to mount those big XC tires on these Zips. And quite frankly, I'm lazy. I'm so tired of swapping tires. I've already swapped another pair of tires on these wheels before. I don't think I can do it again. So I'm gonna unseat these tires. These are 45s. These are 50s. I'm gonna take these off, put those on, and hopefully I don't make a big mess in the garage with all the tubeless sealant. I just got a fresh bottle of Stan's, so I'm gonna use that since I am all out of orange seal. I've always used Stan's. Late last year I decided to switch over to orange seal just to give them a try, just to see what else is out there. All right, let's get to work. I've got a new bike bag, and I've also got a new gravel bike build inside of the bag. I just got a Sycon Aero Comfort gravel bike case to fly with. So I usually spend the better part of the year thinking about this event in particular because it's one of my favorites to do. And now here we are. It is Monday, March 10th. The event is coming up in just 4 days. So this is gonna be a real cool trip. On Thursday when we touch down, there is a shakeout ride and then also a function at a brewery. Friday has a couple shakeout rides, and then the main event's on Saturday. So there's a lot going on. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Last year, unfortunately, the fires had canceled the event. So hopefully this year, there's good weather, positive vibes, and hoping this new case works out. I got a little bit of anxiety around that, especially since the bike inside has only been ridden like 3 times. New bike build, new case, this thing better work out. Next time I turn on the camera, I'll be on my way to Oklahoma. We just landed at Will Rogers International Airport in Oklahoma City and picked up our rental van. Now we're just playing a bit of a game of Tetris to try to figure out how to fit all the bike bags inside. Meanwhile, our buddy Jorge hit some rough travel luck. His flight got diverted to Colorado Springs, so he won't be rolling in until later tonight. This van that we got turned out to be perfect for 4 people and 4 bike bags. Each of us had 1 piece of luggage that we're also traveling with, so you have to do a little bit of rejigging with the seats, but it worked out. We made it up to the Airbnb and we're just kind of getting settled in, unpacking, getting the bikes built up. I'm bummed that this is another year that's gone by and we weren't able to get into town early enough to do the denim ride, but maybe next year. All that matters is we got our bikes here in one piece. And then of course, a little bit later on, because Jorge had such bad luck getting out to Stillwater, we got to go back into Oklahoma City to pick him up from the airport. By this time, we've made our way over to Stone Cloud Brewery. This is where everyone from the Denim Shakeout ride and just people in general are meeting up for the kickoff of the event. This is also the same area where the event is taking place. So for like a 2-block radius, there is a densely packed offering of food trucks and vendors. Look at this Lauf. This thing is really, really cool. And it's just like hanging out right here. I noticed throughout the event, there were tons of people riding Laufs. They are stunning looking gravel bikes. We ended up grabbing something to eat at a diner just around the corner from where this is in the little downtown area, and then quickly got on the highway so that we can go back to the airport and pick the homie up. We booked a killer Airbnb, so when we pulled in, none of these cows were out here behind this fence. But the next morning when we're getting ready to head off for the Zipp Shakeout ride, I opened the garage, walked out, and I seen all of these cows right here at the fence. So that was pretty cool. The crew is pumped and ready to go. We are looking forward to doing the Shakeout ride, and then after the ride is over, we're gonna eat at a killer breakfast place called Hatch. Hatch is hella good, by the way. Soon after that, we'll go over to the event grounds. The venue is located just a block away from where the ride starts and finishes, right here at Balanced Coffee. This is my third year doing the SRAM-sponsored Shakeout ride. It kicks off at 9 a.m. We're here nice and early to schmooze it up, get some coffee, just take in the vibes. But there's always a huge turnout. Tons of people show up to the Shakeout ride. Actually, all of the Shakeout rides that happen during the Mid-South have big turnouts. If you attend the Mid-South, make sure you do at least one of the 3 offered Shakeout rides. You will not be disappointed. Look at that. People are always riding on some cool-ass bikes at the Mid-South. My man out here riding gravel in sandals. I still, for the life of me, have no idea how people pull this off, but I see a number of folks out here riding in sandals. I got feet made of tissue, so the minute any type of pebble hits my feet, it's a done deal.
I want to welcome you to the fourth Sipp and Zipp Shakeout ride!
There's the SRAM ambassador giving us all the pre-ride rundown on what to expect, and just a little bit more information about her and some of the organizations that she supports. The ride is a chill 12-mile spin at a social pace, great for dialing in your bike and connecting with a bunch of riders before tomorrow's main event. We're rolling out in a massive group, and I'd estimate there's probably a couple hundred people in attendance easily, if not more. And I really love this. Always a great turnout, great people, and you're rolling at a relaxed pace. If you look up on the bridge, you can see there's still a ton of people over on the right-hand side that are making their way down here to this path. This is just a temporary bottleneck until we open up onto the road that leads us to the gravel section. Over there, that's Sarah Sturm. She's one of my favorite gravel pros, so it was a pretty cool surprise to see her out here on the Shakeout ride. You'll usually spot a handful of pros rolling along with everybody. So again, make sure if you go to the Mid-South or any other gravel event, do the Shakeout rides, because you never know who's going to attend. At this point, we're a little less than half a mile away from Balanced Coffee. The ride is basically at its end. Me and the rider ahead of me, we noticed that there's 2 riders off on the left that are disappearing down into this creek bed. This is my 3rd year doing the Shakeout ride, and I had no idea, nor did the rider in front of me. We had no idea this trail forks back there and you can ride down next to the creek. So we were both kind of like, damn, we could have been down there with them. So we know for next time, when we hit this point in the trail, I'm gonna deviate down to where those 2 riders went, because it looked really fun down there. This poor runner that's coming up has no idea that she is getting ready to run straight into chaos. Shakeout ride is done. 12-mile easy spin. We're back here at Balanced Coffee. Some people are going to hang out, grab coffee. Others will go off and do their own thing. For us, we're going around the corner to Hatch. Again, Hatch has incredible food, specifically breakfast food. So after the ride, I always like to stop in here, and they also have bike accommodations. Well, I mean, the overflow is on the ground here only because there's an influx of cyclists from the Shakeout ride. But for the most part, you can pull up, park your bike, go in, eat some good food, and not worry about a thing. And then afterwards, go check out the event expo. One of my favorite aspects of going to an event has got to be the expo area. You get to check out all the cool vendors that show up. There's Ride with GPS. I've been a longtime user of their app, so it's always great to see them out in the wild. They've got a display of the course map, and then they're also giving away some cool printed course information so that you're familiar with the different route options for the 50 milers and for the 100 milers. And there's Larry studying what we got to deal with the next day. Then there's the famous Chase, I don't know how the hell to pronounce this. But anyways, every year this thing is reupholstered into some new funky design, and then you can take a picture with it. This is sitting inside of the Salsa Cycles booth, and as to be expected, they've got some killer bikes on display. Terravel, based out of Bloomington, Minnesota, had a great booth set up. They were offering a limited edition run of Mid-South branded gravel tires, and they even had a raffle going where you could win a pair. If I didn't already have a ton of tires at home, I would have dropped some cash for sure on these. This is Symworks. I'm not very familiar with them. I believe they're from the Pacific Northwest. They also had a pretty cool booth. I like some of the products that they were selling. I could be wrong, but I think they're a Japanese-based bicycle parts manufacturer and distributor. And there goes everyone's favorite Silka. Grassroots Gravel had a fun fix-a-flat challenge. You get to stand around and watch people attempt to fix a flat as fast as they can. I'd pass out if I had to do this for time, but definitely fun to watch. Grassroots Gravel has an annual gravel event that takes place out in Pueblo, Colorado. So I'm thinking about putting that on the calendar to attend. And yes, there you have a cat inside of a pet trailer. I first saw this at the 2024 event, and now it's back again. I really want to know the backstory on this. What the hell? This is the Scissortail booth. I have no idea who Scissortail is. This is the first time seeing them, and they had a killer bike here. Paint job on this frame set is out of this world. Look how sparkly this is. I've got a serious soft spot for custom painted bike frames. They just hit different. Over here at the SRAM Zipp Lounge, they're showcasing their 303 Explorer line of wheel sets. I own a pair of the SW Explorers myself and absolutely love them. They also had a display with the wheel set mounted on a variety of bike builds, which was super helpful for seeing how the tire clearances varies across different brands. Tailwind Nutrition, they probably need no introduction. I use their performance drinks and love it. There's Quack Shoes, I love the brand. I just wish they would make their shoes in half sizes. If you make it out to the event, be sure to swing by District Bicycles. It's a great shop, and they play a huge role behind the scenes in supporting the Mid-South. And as you would expect with a bike shop, there's bikes and bike products. This District bike shirt's pretty cool. It's got the state of Oklahoma and it looks like a pointing finger. Take a look at this custom build. District Bicycles teamed up with a designer, a painter, SRAM, Zipp, and Salsa Cycles, just to mention a few, to bring this one to life. It's got an eclectic standout vibe. I'm really into it. Look how it's Mid-South branded pretty much everywhere. I'm all about it. Even better, the bike is part of a raffle supporting a local child advocacy program here in Stillwater, so every ticket sold goes directly to the cause. Hard to beat that. I'll drop a link in the description if you want to learn more about the build, but yeah, I love how this thing is styled out. Okay, now we're back outside. We are at the Louth Gravel World's booth, and I'm going to do this event in the 4th week of August. Looking forward to it. This guy was hella cool, by the way. That's Paige Onweller over there at the Orange Sill tent, getting warmed up for the Pro Women's Gravel Race. I'm a big fan of this year's format, by the way. Having the Pro Field race on Friday, a day before the main event, is brilliant. It's a huge improvement over the mass start with everyone together. You actually get to hang out at the expo area and watch the race kick off. At the registration area, everything was running super smooth. Once you grab your packet, you move right along a row of tables stacked with free swag, plenty of goodies to fill up your event bag, and then right there in the same space, they had a full setup where you could check out and buy all kinds of Mid-South gear. Honestly, out of all the events I've done, the Mid-South easily ranks in my top 3, if not number 1, for best design merchandise and swag. So after dealing with the registration process and buying a ton of gear that we probably didn't need, we just hung out at this brand new community space and listened to live music. We're back at the Airbnb, winding down from the day. For the first time ever, the Mid-South is live streaming the pro race on YouTube. So we've got that playing on every TV in the house. This is pretty damn cool if you ask me. There are only a handful of bike events that actually live stream the pro race. So it's really cool to see that the Mid-South is stepping it up and making this happen. This house that we're staying at is incredible, by the way. We're out here basically on the homestead. But yeah, I'm getting ready to start going through all my new gear and registration stuff and get dialed in and ready for tomorrow's main event. I spent way too much money on Mid-South gear, but everything else, all this Mid-South stuff, it looks like I'm going to be wearing all this event merchandise for the next couple years. I probably did too much. I bought more Mid-South gear than I needed to. Lauf was handing out these incredible spoon spork knife things that were great, so I got two. I got one for my buddy that actually rides a Lauf bike, and then I decided to take one for myself because why not? That's a wrap on today's events. I'm going to finish getting all my gear sorted, get the bike fully dialed in for tomorrow's main event, and I'll go kick back with the homies to continue watching the Pro Gravel Race live stream. It's race day. We rolled in early and we're making our way over to the staging area as everything starts to come alive. After last year's cancellation due to the devastating wildfires, just being here right now feels huge. It has been a long time coming to get to this point. So the race is getting ready to kick off and I am highly pumped. And as you can see, there's a pretty big turnout. This is totally worth the travel out from the West Coast, so this will remain my all-time favorite gravel event, and I will keep doing it for the foreseeable future. All right, the race is on. We've got 105 miles ahead of us. The group is getting ready to split up. Each one of us has our own specific goals and plans for how we want to finish this event. Nate has already jammed off towards the front, and then shortly I'm going to be making my way through the group to try to figure out what my fitness truly looks like, since this is the first long distance ride I've done since breaking my ankle 4 months prior to this event. My ankle feels fine, but my overall endurance fitness is not so great. So today's going to be a long day to say the least. There were a lot of people on fat bikes at this event. I do not know how they do it. Kudos to them for bringing that behemoth of a bike out and doing a long distance event with it. It'll just be a short ride before we hit the dirt. I'm kind of picking out some people that I might want to follow behind and just continuing to make my way up the road. The speed is up here, which is a good thing. I just want to try to get some good positioning and then figure out what I need to do to make it throughout the day. But this guy, I'm going to stay behind him for quite some time. He put in a really good amount of work, and I am grateful for him towing me, although that was probably not his goal. So we just got a little bit of road riding to do before we hit the first gravel segment, maybe about 2 or 3 miles, I'd say. From here, I'm pretty much working into groups, just kind of making my way through the packs and figuring out where I want to be. And since I've done this route a handful of times prior to this event, I have a general idea of when the dirt is getting ready to start and where I would like to be positioned to get ahead of some of the slower riders, but also knowing that this year I'm probably not going to be able to go anywhere near full gas like I did in 2024. So this is where I'm at. This hill had me kind of shocked because my legs started hurting, which is weird. I had a decent taper week. I didn't go hard leading up to this event. I felt like I was well prepared, but that little kicker caused my legs to shout. Maybe that's just a result of a cold start, not warming up for the event, but that kind of had me caught off guard a bit. Usually it's just my lungs that are screaming, not so much my legs, but yeah, here we go. guy in the cowboy hat means serious business. You can see him with his arrow cowboy hat rapidly pulling away from the group. I've seen him out here the last couple times I've been to the Mid-South, and yeah, look at him go. All right, hurrah, we finally hit the dirt segment, and this is where we are going to remain for the duration of the day. I think this is probably around mile 8-ish, and you can see the terrain is actually pretty nice. It's slightly dusty. It rained earlier in the week. The moisture had all dried up by now, but it's still in really good shape. There's clean lines that you can take, and I am relieved. So now I can finally settle into my ride and focus on the mission for the day. So far, I've just been kind of picking my way through packs, finding good groups to work in with. This group of riders up here were pretty solid to follow for a few miles before I moved on to this group, and I caught up with them right before we started this long descent. I saw that he was angling to get over, so I just gave him a shout and told him to jump in. I followed behind the guy in the red jersey for a handful of miles before I ended up getting detached, and then I jumped in with another group. I wanted to make sure that I am managing all of my power and energy so that I can complete the course, because this is my first 100-mile ride since breaking my ankle 3 months prior to this. In case you haven't heard me mention this repeatedly already. Coming up was a really cool part of the route. They had a bunch of pros standing up on this bridge, just kind of like rooting on the riders. And I recognized Drew Dillman off to the right and ended up giving him a dap when I passed by. But I think on the left is one of the bicycle station guys. It looks like Trey, maybe? Yeah, how fun was that? Again, that's why separating the formats between having the pro race on Friday and having the main event on Saturday is crucial. I love that because now you can interact with the pros. This makes the event feel a lot more immersive and engaging. So props to the Mid-South for having the pro race one day before all of us mortals get out here and do the race. I'm pulling into the first aid station. I spent maybe no more than 8 minutes here. Got something to eat, just grabbed a couple quick snacks, topped off water, and then I was out. But I didn't spend too much time at this aid station. I felt relatively okay. My original goal was to keep all of my aid station stops very short so that I have a chance at a decent finish time. But as the day went on, the stops at the aid stations got longer and longer. Whoever this rider is, I can't thank her enough. She pulled for a handful of miles before I got in front and returned the favor. But I was able to work with her for a little bit, and it was greatly appreciated, so big thanks. After riding by myself for a little bit, I started to see a group off in the distance, and then I worked pretty hard to close down the gap so that I can join them and get some draft relief. After joining them, I settled in for a little bit and worked with them for maybe like 5 miles-ish before we hit a turn and then got split up. But this is literally what I've been doing all day. I've just been working my way in and out of different groups, just trying to inch closer to the finish line and conserve as much energy as possible. This footage has not been sped up. You can see the rider up front that's doing 1,000,000 RPMs just to get up to the top of this short, steep, punchy climb. The rest of us are grinding our butts off just to get up here. This summarizes what we're going through all day long. Just a lot of short, small, rolling hills, sometimes steep and punchy, but it's pretty much up, down, up, down, up, down all day. This was a really cool section to descend. Caught a lot of speed right here. It was really fun. There were some like bumps to bunny hop. We get up over this bridge up ahead, and for whatever reason totally lose momentum because the rider in front of this guy in the tan shirt was moving really slow. So I don't know if he had slammed on the brakes or what happened there. So that was the end of all that fun. That was my fault. I could have just gone around. I just rolled in with this group and they were great to ride with. This section of the course actually worked in my favor. This was a long descent where I could settle in, catch my breath, and recharge a bit. So I'm feeling good and everything had been going smooth. But then the rhythm broke. So the road kicked up over these deep tire ruts and the lead rider backed off hard. That hesitation rippled all the way through the group, and then suddenly the rider in front of me was almost at a standstill. So this time I saw that coming, slipped around the bottleneck, and kept my momentum rolling. One thing I really love about this course is how it winds through these small rural communities outside of Stillwater. Every now and then you'll ride past someone's home and the residents are out front cheering. It adds a lot of cool energy to the day. I flipped the camera on as soon as I spotted a group at the top of this hill handing out high fives. How cool is that? At this point I'm rolling into the town of Guthrie, and this is aid station number 2. Full-scale rave is going down right now, and I can totally appreciate that. Need all the energy I can get. There's a massive aid station here. People are hanging out, plenty of porta potties, all the nutrition and food that you would need, all the typical stuff. Well, shouldn't say typical, some events don't give you jack shit, but yeah, everything is pretty well stocked here. I hung out probably a little longer than I needed to, maybe around like 15 minutes or so. I'm pretty much in chill mode, but I wanted to make sure that I'm conserving power so that I can get through the back end of the course. There's some kids up here at the foot of their driveway handing out water to all the cyclists passing by. Again, it's really cool to see the residents out here supporting this event.
Howdy, folks. Hey.
This is the infamous Carson Creek crossing at around mile 88. Back in 2024, we hit it from the opposite direction, and I remember blasting straight through this without even thinking, only to regret it for the rest of the race, being stuck in completely waterlogged shoes. I'm not in any hurry, so I'm just up here on the top of this hill chilling, watching people struggle. So I've got my line, I'm going through, and there is the camera guy right here getting a picture of this boy.
Yeah, boy!
So after you trudge through all that water, you got to make a steep climb up this hill with wet feet. I'm guessing the grade of this climb is probably around 12%. It's fairly steep. Thank God the Mid-South has arranged to have this water crossing at the end of the route versus a few years ago where the water crossing was in the beginning. I'm pulling into the last aid station of the day, and we are just getting off a climb. This road was probably like a 6 to 8% gradient, fairly longish, but I had ran out of water 7 miles prior to this, and I was absolutely gassed when I got here. So I couldn't get over to the water tanks quick enough. I just wanted to get the ride over with, so I spent a minimal amount of time here, just enough time to get some pickle juice, a mini Coke, refilled in the water, took a look at what the hell was going on with my front caliper because that was screaming and rubbing on the brake rotor, so now I had that thing making noise for most of the ride, and then I just took off as quickly as possible. I'm rolling into a short but super fun single track section. This is about 10 miles from the finish. That last aid station gave me the final boost I needed mentally to lock in and push to the end. I had only been back on a bike riding for about 6 weeks after an injury, so my endurance wasn't fully here, and I can definitely feel that lack of training. So I'm pretty beat down, but I'm persevering and pushing through all of this. Finally, a long stretch of road where we're descending. I can see there's a climb up ahead, so I'm just trying to conserve energy as much as possible. I missed a big opportunity to hop on this guy's wheel and get towed down the road because there's a climb coming up. It's kind of like a false flattish type deal, and here it is. So he sped past me. I missed an opportunity to hop on his wheel and get towed up the hill. So here I am, dogging it up this false flat that seems endless, but we're probably about 5 miles to the finish. There have been a number of fat bike riders at this event. I have no idea how they're pushing these massive tires over this terrain, so props to them. This poor guy, I think, has suffered a mechanical issue, so he's got quite a walk to get to any form of help. And here we are yet again on a hill. So this hill had some grade to it. These guys are smashing it up the hill. I had been riding with that pack for maybe like the last 4 miles. I was able to keep them within sight and eventually just catch back up to them, but I am dog tired. And that ended up being the last substantial climb of the day. As soon as I rounded this corner, the finish line came into view and I emptied the tank. This was easily the hardest effort I put out all day. I'm sprinting to the finish like I'm getting ready to get a podium finish. All jokes aside, I'm pretty stoked right now. After breaking my ankle back in November and getting back to the point where I could line up and finish a 100-mile gravel race in just 4 months, this felt unreal. This was a major personal accomplishment, and I'm glad I was recovered enough to get to do this. And to celebrate coming across that line, there it is, the Bobby hug. And let me tell you, them Bobby hugs are 100% genuine. It is a no bullshit embrace, and I love it. I'm here for it. So that's it. That's the end of the event. Got my homie Larry out here. He had just finished the event a little earlier. The homie Jorge is just crossing the line now, so he is getting his Bobby hug. And the day is officially done for us. We have all set out to do the Mid-South. We've completed it. This was Jorge's second trip out to the Mid-South, but this is his first time actually finishing the race. He came out last year, but the wildfires forced a cancellation, so it's awesome to see him come back, run it again, and finish strong. I can't recommend this event enough. It's hard to fully capture just how good the vibe is here at the Mid-South. It's truly an event for everyone, from pros, elites, amateurs, weekend warriors, and even the party pace crowd. If you're the adventurous type looking for a great gravel race, put the Mid-South on your list. You will not regret it.